Welcome to the Center for European Policy Analysis State of the Alliance. It's an ongoing series to bring together thought leaders from Europe and North America to discuss and deliberate the most pressing challenges to the NATO alliance, the NATO alliance members, and its partners. And today I'm very honored to be able to welcome to our studios the Republic of Estonia's Minister of Defense, Mr. Hanno Pevkur. Mr. Minister, thank you for your time today and joining us in the studio.
Thank you for inviting, and it's good to be here.
Let's jump right into it. The world and all the nations have been watching very closely the conflict in Ukraine that stems from Russia's illegal and unjustified full-scale invasion for over 2 years now. Can you share with us some of Estonia's viewpoints on your lessons from that conflict and how it applies to your defense planning and possible changes to some of your defense and security investments?
Yeah, well, obviously we are taking these lessons, from day to day, and we're trying to bring them, at home as much as we can. I have to say that even during these last 2 years, the battlefield has changed dramatically. So we started with the conventional war, what we knew from the First World War or the Second World War, where Russians just bombing everything and then trying to conquer the territories and then to keep the territories. Now we see that drones are flying. Now we see that, the AI is coming, and unfortunately Russians are using also chemical weapon, that they are going to be more brutal and brutal all the time. So bringing also very old bombs back, having some, wings attached to them, and it's, it brings you to the understanding that you have to be ready to change throughout the war. And our lessons learned, are quite simple. That we have to equip ourselves more. We have to invest more into defense. And what we have done is that these new capabilities we have already acquired have to be manned, and then you have to be very flexible. In some terms, for instance, with the drones. There is no point to have big stockpiles because the drone technology is developing so rapidly, and there are so many things probably we cannot go through in these couple of minutes. But the main lessons is that deterrence still needs to be there. Bring more money into defense and do it all very quickly. So these are very important things to remember.
Yeah, I think what we've seen with the technology and innovation that has appeared on the battlefield in various forms, and the creativity of the Ukrainian forces to be able to put those to good effect has a lot of opportunity for the NATO alliance and members to learn from the Ukrainians. These apply, I think, a bit to some of our defense investments and thinking within the NATO alliance. How do you feel that the NATO alliance is prepared to adapt to this rapid changing technology and rapid changing innovation? Because there is an element of this that is very modern, that breaks the normal barriers of our past paradigms of capability development, requirements, and implementation. So what's your sense on NATO's ability to adapt with this?
Well, I have a very strong understanding that NATO is as strong as every member. So, and this is why I'm saying all the time that we need to invest more, because already 10 years ago in Wales, all the allies agreed that we will have 2%. Now in Vilnius we said that 2% is an absolute minimum, but still. Last year we had only 11 countries. This year maybe we have 18, 19 countries who have 2%. We've been advocating even for more because Estonia has this year maybe 3.4. And we will keep the 3% level or above 3% level for an upcoming years. So this is like the first precondition to everything, because when you do not have the money, you cannot also cope with the new technologies. You cannot bring them in, and the challenge in general for the militaries is that you are buying the equipment or the weapon systems for 20, 30, 40 years. So when you're building a ship, it will be in the service for 40 years. When you're buying artillery system, it will be in the service for 20, 30 years. And then you have like drones, you have electronic warfare, you have all these new capabilities. And this is why What we are trying to do in Estonia is that, when by average in NATO, 27, 28 cents from each dollar goes to development and new capabilities, then we are putting 55. So we are just, trying to build up the army so that we are ready for any threat. Is NATO ready as an alliance? Yes, we are. Of course, we are. The question is that, even looking at the new regional plans, what we have in NATO, which were approved in Vilnius, these plans are really good. But are they executable? Yes, they are. Are they 100% executable? Not yet. So this is why, we are heading to Washington Summit also with some ideas, but I believe we have some times also to talk about that. But nevertheless, all these new technologies are so important, and then you have to be flexible. And now I believe for the next 5 to 10 years in every country of NATO, hoping that there will be no war with Russia, we actually have to, bring this new knowledge and new understanding into our armies, what we see in Ukraine.
Yes, well, speaking of NATO adaptation and readiness to fulfill the requirements of the regional plans, there are some new NATO members, and they're from your region, so they're close, not only neighbors of you, but I know that you have a lot of shared common history. And Finland, of course, and Sweden were strong partners with the NATO alliance, and now they're full members. How do you see their accession into the NATO alliance to bring the capability, and how do they fit, in your view, from the Estonian Ministry of Defense?
Oh, they fit perfectly. In a way, to put it in one word, so I would say that. But at the end of the day, of course, for us it is very important that we have now better control over the Baltic Sea, because Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. We do not have this strategic depth, because when you take also the battlefield in Ukraine at the moment, then this is around the same size as Baltic countries altogether. Because when you just take the map, you see that it's a narrow corridor, which is the battlefield at the moment in Ukraine. In reality, it's like from Washington to Miami, and it's like around 700 or 800 miles. And the territory is also the same size as Baltic countries. So this is why we clearly understand that our strategic depth is also linked to Finland, to Sweden. We need to have the corridors open for the supply lines, and of course we need to control the Baltic Sea. So now when you look at the capabilities what Sweden has, very strong navy, really strong navy, good air force, strong army. Finland, extremely strong army, and then also air force. They are buying now 64 F-35s. So we will see a very strong northeast corner of NATO, and this is very important for us. Especially now we can also share some more information, and also fight more like in an effective way against hybrid threats, because we have a lot of connections between Estonia, Finland, Sweden, undersea cables, electric grid, gas pipeline. So we have to protect and defend also these. So it's from our point of view, and I believe for all the alliance, a great success story that we were able to have Finland already for more than 1 year, and then now Sweden for a couple of weeks. So it's good.
Yes, and certainly an example of Mr. Putin's miscalculation on his aggression into Ukraine there, the accession of those two new members. The other thing that strikes me with Finland and Sweden, and I think it applies a lot to Estonia and your Baltic state partners, is the total defense concept, right? This reserve forces that you have, this mix with the citizens to build the resilience of your societies as well. And I think that's an interesting aspect, that the alliance has many lessons to learn from not only Estonia, Lithuania, and Latvia, but also Finland and Sweden. Are you trying to share some of those concepts and some of those processes with the NATO alliance and in the member states?
Well, I believe that there are already some practical steps where we see that, Latvia is introducing the conscription service. Germany is thinking again about the conscription service because, Estonia and Finland are very similar in that sense. And our army base is reservists. or a reserve army. So and this is why when I take our wartime structure, then our wartime structure is close to 44,000 men, which comparable when we bring it to the U.S. terms, it could be around 13-14 million of army. And the looking at this, the same in Finland. So they have close to 200,000 in their like wartime structure. So then multiply that to 300, and then you will understand what it means. So yes, we have this total concept, and we have also a very strong voluntary part in our wartime structure, because our voluntary defense league, which is close to National Guard here in States, means that we have there 30,000 members, 10,000 combatants, around 4,000 youth organization for boys, and 4,000 for girls, and 4,000 women. And then additionally to that, some other people who are already a bit older, but they still can help us with the formation and all that. So that means that that we are ready to defend our country. And when I'm just thinking in a way that how we are prepared today, comparing to that what we had 100 years ago when we started a bit more. So in 1918, when we started our independence war against Russia, then we had like 2,000 men and 1,500 rifles. So today we have, and we won that war against Russia. So this is also the message that, that when Russia comes to a small country wants to take away your freedom, then you are able to fight back and win this independence war if necessary. And of course, if you have allies. So we had UK and Finland and others to come to help us. So you can actually achieve the victory also against the big, brutal enemy.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing another example of that in Ukraine, right? The resilience of the society and the courage and the bravery that they're showing. And I think that stands as when people's freedoms and liberties are threatened and being taken away, that they can really rise up in solidarity and fight. Mr. Minister, we can't let you go today without discussing a very important event that's happening in Washington this summer. Of course, it's the NATO Summit here in Washington, D.C. They'll be celebrating the 75th anniversary, of course, but there's a lot more substance to that event. And so we would be curious to hear your views on what a successful summit looks like, right? What are the outcomes or decisions that need to be taken that are most important for the alliance going forward?
Well, I believe that we have like two lines. One is everything linked to NATO and our own actions, and the other is Ukraine. So regarding the NATO activities, then first, we've had like two very good summits in Madrid and in Vilnius. Now we're coming to Washington, and definitely what we need to do first to have an insight or a look into that, what we have achieved since Vilnius. So this is the regional plans and the executability of the regional plans. So in that sense, as I said already, that we probably will see that there are still some gaps, which means that we have offered for that gap one specific initiative, which is called Defense Capability Initiative, and which I hope that it will be also in the final communique. So we're like working on the wording at the moment together with the allies. But the point of that Defense Capability Initiative is that we still have forces to allocate to the regional plans, all of us. And now we have to see that how we can allocate more forces into the SACEUR's portfolio. And additional to that, also to ramp up the production and to see that yes, we are ready to defend our countries if necessary. Second part definitely is regarding Ukraine, and Ukraine. It's not easy definitely to find the right wording, and probably there will be some kind of bridge between Vilnius and Washington. But from our point of view, we have been very clear that that the only security guarantee for Ukraine is the membership. And this is why that We really hope that we will see some very strong wording. We all understand that it will not happen in Washington to get the membership for Ukraine. But on the other hand, we also, at least in our region, we all understand that when there is a need for Estonia or for Latvia or for Lithuania or for Poland or for Finland to defend ourselves, then the Ukrainians will be the first one who are coming to help us, as we went as first one to help them. So in that sense, we do not have any doubts that Ukraine has to be. And then also on practical level, I believe that Ukraine, after that war, will be one of the strongest armies because, they've had the experience. They have used all the weapon systems what we have in NATO. So I've said that they are like world champions of interoperability. Using, 140, 150 different weapon systems, and they are picking, the best ones, which are working, which are not. So this is why, Ukraine army definitely will come out very strong from this war. So, when we're keeping these two lines, let's see, and of course we will have a new SecGen. So, and 75 years NATO has been able to keep the peace in the Euro-Atlantic zone. So my wish is that it will continue for the next 75 years or 750 years with that constellation what we have, and maybe, new members coming. So this is very important that, that we keep the unity, because, stronger we are, or together we are stronger.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. This has been CEPA's State of the Alliance with the Republic of Estonia's Minister of Defense, Mr. Hanno Pevkur. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Please tune in to CEPA.org for further analysis and discussions on the most pressing transatlantic security and defense issues.